Hey guys, it is Jenna. Oh. Why were you looking at me like that? Like, Mom, who the frick are you talking to? I look like an old lady and I feel like an old lady. Somehow I hurt my neck and I can't really move. So if I look like a little bit of a robot, that's the reason. Let me just grab my board game here. What did I do in my sleep that made me feel this way? Was I doing cartwheels? Ow! Can I not even like look at the camera without hurting? Hey guys, it is Jenna, what is up, and welcome back to another board game video. I am joined today, I don't know if you guys can see, yes you can totally see, but I am joined today by my dog Penny. She is just hanging out on my lap. If you guys have never seen her before, she is a Morkie. She is the cutest little thing. And she's decided to join me today. She's typically not like this, like she does not sit on my lap like this, but I guess today we're feeling it. We're feeling it today? You kind of love me today? Yeah? You kind of love me today. Okay, awesome. Also, yes, I cannot move my neck very well, so we're gonna get through this video. I'm gonna probably look very awkward. Anyways, I figured that today we would start off with some intro games and some like starter games. Just great games that you can play when you're first getting into the hobby. I will be going in order of easiest to hardest. A few of the harder ones could be debated that they're not intro games, but to me, I feel like anybody, once you learn these games, can play them. I've played all of these with like Francis's parents, my siblings, people that aren't necessarily in the board game hobby. So I do feel like all 10 of these board games can be played by starter or intro gamers. So without further ado, we're going through 10 of them. I did want to do a little bit of a spin on this because I have noticed when watching other starter videos on YouTube or intro game videos on YouTube, a lot of people talk about the same games over and over again, like Azul and Splendor and Welcome to, and I feel like I wanted to, talk about some other ones that you guys might be interested in, just so you have an array of games if you are going through YouTube and watching a bunch of these starter or intro game recommendation videos, so you're seeing a little bit of a change in games. But without further ado, let's get right into these 10 games. If you're looking for some intro or starter games, if you're just getting into the hobby, or even if you're already in the hobby, I feel like some of these are great for that as well. But yeah, let's get into it. So the first game that we are talking about today is the easiest out of all 10 of them. I don't know if I mentioned, but we're going from easiest to hardest. But the first one is a card game, and it is called Ohanami. It is published by Pandasaurus Games and designed by Stefan Pendorf. This game is so much fun. It is basically you're in cherry blossom season and you're creating a Zen garden with cards, and there are 4 different colored cards. There are green, blue, gray, and pink. They are numbered from 1 to 120, and each player is starting with a hand of cards. You are picking 2 and then handing the rest off to your neighbors. It goes around and round and round until there are no cards left. Are you done? Okay, you didn't stay for long, that's fine. But you're basically placing cards in front of you. This is a card drafting game, and you're placing cards in front of you in 3 different lines, and the lines have to be ascending or descending, whatever way you want to look at it. But for example, if you place a 56 and a 68, you can't place anything in between, so the next hand of cards that you get, you have to place either below 56 or above 68, so on and so forth, until you have 3 full lines of ascending / descending colored cards, and then you score points for 3 rounds depending on the colors that you have in your little Zen garden. So that is the simplest way to explain this. It is pretty straightforward. It's a quick game and we absolutely love it. We play this with Francis's parents all the time. It's a great one to have with like sushi. You could have like a little sushi night and bring this guy out, put on some calming Zen garden music, and it is just a vibe. So definitely recommend Ohanami. Such a great little card game, and yeah, that is the first one. Game number 2 is such a fun tile placing game. This is BarenPark. It was published by Lookout Games and designed by Phil Walker Harding. This is such a cute game. I absolutely love the theme. Basically, you are creating your own bear park, hence BarenPark, and I guess it's just like a zoo, but a zoo that only has bears. I'm not really sure, but it is such a fun game. Basically, you are starting with this little board here, and your board has symbols on it. You place a tile. Whatever symbols you cover up, you then pick a tile from that category to place your next turn, so on and so forth until you have filled up your entire board. All of the tiles are different, like Tetris pieces, and they get you a different amount of points, and then once your entire board is filled up, everyone counts up your points, and then whoever has the most points wins. I absolutely love this game. The theme is amazing. Again, it's a very quick game. You're just placing tiles over and over again. It's super, super easy, and I feel like just the base game could be played by so many people, especially with the cute little theme that it has. There are a few expansions for this, which we have considered picking up just to make the game a little bit more difficult, but just the base game is such a fun intro game, and I definitely recommend it to anybody. I feel like so many different ages would love to play this one. So the third game is a game that I feel like does not get talked about enough. This is such a beautiful game, and it is so underrated, and that is Sunset Over Water. I am obsessed with this game, and I want to play it all the time. It is published by Watts Games and designed by 3 people, which are Steve Finn, Eduardo Baroff, and Beth Sobel, which I believe that she did the art for this, and Beth is so freaking talented. This game is absolutely stunning. I don't know if you guys can see here, but basically there are cards with landscape, like paintings, I guess, and you are all artists that are getting up in the morning and going out and painting these beautiful landscapes. So you have a 5x5 grid of landscape cards spread out, and you all have your little workers that start on the middle card, and then you pick a card that has when you wake up, how many spaces you can move, and then how many paintings you can paint. So whoever picks the card that gets up the earliest gets to go first. You get to move how many spots you want, either left, right, down, up, or on an angle. You move how many ever spaces it says on the card, and then you paint however many paintings in that little line that you moved, and you're trying to fulfill different, I guess, orders for paintings and getting points for fulfilling those orders. For example, there might be a card that says someone wants a painting with a sunset, a waterfall, and flowers, so you have to grab that painting and then sell it to that person and get your points. There are a few other ways to get points as well, but it is such a fun little card game. I don't really know exactly. I guess the mechanisms are like grid movement and set collection is, I guess, what the mechanisms are, but I definitely recommend this one. Again, it does not get talked about enough, and it is just such a beautiful game. Definitely recommend it for first-time players, and it's just a fun little game. So yes, that is Sunset Over Water. So the fourth game has a very special place in both my and Francis' heart, and that was actually the first game that we ever purchased before starting this collection, and that is Tokaido. It was published by Funforge Games, and it was designed by Antoine Bauza. This game just means so much to me because, again, like I said, it was the first game that Francis and I ever purchased, and is what we started our collection off with and started us in the hobby. So Tokaido, I'm going to admit the artwork was definitely the one thing that kind of brought me into it, because it is so freaking beautiful. I don't know if you guys can see, but I love the cover so much. The theming of this is basically that you are all tourists. I believe you're traveling across, what is it called? You're traveling across the East Sea Road in Japan, so I guess that's a very common place to travel. but you're all moving down this board like you guys can see here. And this is the type of game where whoever is last gets to go first. So you're kind of trying to move forward to the places that you want to go, but you don't want to move forward too far because your next turn is not going to come around until you are the last person again, so once everyone else has passed you. So if you do go up quite a bit, you're going to be waiting quite a long time to have your next turn. So basically you are moving across this track, you are doing different things, you are meeting locals, you're purchasing food, you're purchasing souvenirs. You're all just little tourists going on this little journey across the East Sea Road, and I just think it is absolutely beautiful. It's a very simple game and it is just so much fun. You're collecting different things and getting points for different things, and I definitely recommend it to anyone. The art really brings you in. It's very immersive and very calming. You guys will see that I do like very chill, calming games. I feel like that's like one thing I really am drawn towards when it comes to themes. So I do want to mention that there is another game in this series coming out. I don't know if it's already out and I just haven't found it yet, or if it's coming out soon, but it is called Namiji and it has similar art. I believe the theme is a little bit more on fishing and stuff, which is super fun, but it looks very similar to this and I'm super excited to see how that one plays and maybe get that one for our collection. But that is Tokaido. Definitely recommend it. I do admit it does have a little bit of a nostalgic place in my heart, but it is such an amazing and calming game. Okay, so number 5. We are almost halfway there, but this is Decrypto. This is a team game, a word, kind of like a party game. I would say this is the closest to a party game that I have on the list. But Decrypto was published by Scorpion Mask and it was designed by Thomas Degantes L'Esperance. That was horrible. I am so sorry, Thomas. I apologize. But Decrypto is such a fun game. Basically, you are on 2 teams. We have played with teams of 2. We've played with teams of 5. Doesn't really matter, but I will say that this game is a little bit difficult to explain, but basically each team has 4 different words that correspond with a number. So you have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and one person on your team gets a card that has 3 of those numbers, and they are having to give you 3 words or 3 phrases that correspond with the words in those 3 numbers, if that makes sense. So their card might be 1, 4, 3. So they are trying to give you a word that makes you guess 1, makes you guess 4, and makes you guess 3. But the opposite team is trying to guess at some point in the game. So you're trying to make your hints good enough for your team to guess, but not good enough so that the opposite team can steal it before your team can guess. So it is such a fun game. It is such a thinky game and such a exciting game when you're just working with your team. I definitely recommend this one. I'm surprised it's not talked about more because it is, I'm pretty sure, in the 90s. It's actually in the top 100 games on Board Game Geek. I think it's 98, 97, 98, somewhere there. So I don't know why it's not talked about more than it is, but I definitely recommend it for a group of friends or with your family. It is just such a fun game. So that is Decrypto. I did a really bad job explaining it, but hopefully you can do your research and find out more about it if you are interested. Next up is the first, I guess, fully cooperative game that I'm talking about today. Decrypto is a little bit cooperative because you are working in teams, but this one you are working all together to get out of a cave, which is pretty fun. But this was published by Inside the Box Board Games, and it was designed by Tim Pinder, and this is such a fun, immersive game. Basically, it is a tile placing game. You are all working together to find the exit to this cave and all get out without dying. It is quite scary, I will say. We do get pretty into this game. We lower the lights, we put on some creepy music, and it is just a lot of fun. But you have a stack of tiles, and you're putting the exit tile in one of the last 6 tiles. So as you play the game, you're flipping over tiles. That is kind of representing you exploring the cave, and you're flipping over tiles. There could be cave-ins, there could be some gases, there are monsters that come out and chase you, which I think in the game they call them horrors, but you're flipping over these tiles and running into all of these different things and trying to find the exit together. So I definitely recommend Terra if you like cooperative games and if you like, you know, immersive, fun, scary, trying to get out of caves games. Next up is a game that I'm pretty sure I talk about way too much on this channel, and you guys can clearly tell that it is one of my favorites, and I feel like it deserves so much more attention that it gets, but that is Awkward Guests. Awkward Guests is such a good game. It was published by Mega Corpin Games. Brilliant deck system. Ooh. And it was also designed by... Who designed this? Hello? Please hold while I look it up on Board Game Geek. So it was designed by Ron Gonzalo Garcia. What a great guy. Awkward Guests, like I was saying, is one of my favorite games. It is a deduction game where this lovely man here, Mr. Walton, was found dead in his study, and there are 6 other people that are suspects. So you're trying to find out who killed him, why they killed him, and how they killed him. And basically you're getting to this information by trading clues with your opponents and finding out different things that you can deduct from your little sheet that's in front of you. Oh my goodness, I absolutely love this game. It is so, I'm gonna say the word immersive a lot, but I do love a good immersive game, but it's just so much fun. It's like Clue, but 1,000 times better. I always say that. I love deduction games, so I love this, and it is different every time. It works with an app. If you do think that you have solved the case, you put it in on the app, and then the app tells you if you got it wrong or right, which is super exciting because you like put in the information and then you say okay, and then it either claps for you or boos you. It's super funny, but I will admit I am very good at this game, and that may be why I like it so much. So the last 3 games could be debated that they are not intro or starter games, but like I said in the intro, I feel like all 3 of these are playable by anybody. You just have to take your time, learn the rules, and they are just such amazing games, so I had to include them. But the first one is a pretty well-known game, and that is Above and Below by Red Raven Games and designed by Ryan Lockett. This designer, Ryan, he is very talented. He does the art, he does the game design, and this one is the only one of that series that we have. I believe there is 3 or 4 more in this series. There is Near or Far, Now or Never, and then there's also Sleeping Gods. So I don't know if Sleeping Gods is technically in this series, but this is the first of them. This is the easiest one, and I absolutely love this game. I love the art. So in Above and Below, you are a little group or a little tribe, and you are building buildings, you are exploring the below, hence the above and below. You're collecting resources, you're doing different things to collect points and win at the end. And it is I believe an action point game where you have a set list of things that you can do, and you're choosing each worker to do specific things on your turn. So for example, you might have someone go and recruit a new member, so you have more actions that you can do in the next round. Someone might go and build a building, and then you might take 2 of them and go and explore the below. And I think that's my favorite part of this game, is the exploring, because this is a like storytelling game where there is, when you do explore, you roll a die to see what little like story you read from a book, and it is so much fun. It's a little bit like a choose your own adventure. So someone will read out this little story to you of what happens when you go and explore, and you have a few little options to choose from of what happens and what you want to do and what you receive from that option. So it is just a fun, again, immersive game with storytelling, which I believe this is the only like storytelling game on this list, but it is so much fun. I love the art, and I'm excited to try out a few more of the games in this series from Ryan. So that is number 7, Above and Below. That was totally not number 7, that was number 8, but this is number 9, and I feel like this game is another one that does not get talked about enough. It is such a fun game. It's pretty highly rated on Board Game Geek. I believe it's like a 7.5, but that is Taverns of Tiefenthal. I love this game so much. This is one of the games that we got pretty early on in our board gaming hobby. It is published by North Star Games and designed by Wolfgang Larsch. And this is such a fun game where you own your own tavern. Each player has their own tavern, and it is a dice drafting and dice worker placement game, which is so much fun. I think this is the only dice drafting, dice worker placement. We have the Castles of Burgundy, but it's totally different, and the theming for this one is so much fun. But basically you have 4 die that you start with, you roll those onto this little like coaster, and then you pick one and then pass the rest of the die to the next person. You get a new one, you pick one, keeps on going around until everyone has picked or drafted their die to use that round, and then you use those die numbers to then do different things in your tavern. So you can get more beer, you can collect money to then upgrade your tavern, you can serve your guests the beer. It is just so much fun. There are a few different like modules, is that what they're called in here? There's just different things that you can add to your game within the base game, which is amazing, and I just love this game so much. We've had it for a while and it is still one of my favorites. So that is number 9, Taverns of Tiefenthal. So the last game that I'm talking about today is the newest one to me. I've only played it twice, but I absolutely love this game. And I find that a lot of people, when doing these like starter games, they talk about Azul, which this one kind of reminds me of the general gameplay of Azul, where you're getting tiles and you're placing them in certain formations to then collect points to win at the end. So the game that I'm talking about is Vivid Memories. I love the gameplay, I love the theming. It is published by Floodgate Games and designed by Matthew Dunstan and Brett J. Gilbert, and I believe the art is from Andrew Bosley, which the art is gorgeous in this game. Basically, you have this little board in front of you that I think is supposed to represent your brain, and you are collecting different fragments of childhood memories to then put in your brain in different formations. It is stunning. I love it. You're drafting the tiles in front of you. There are a bunch of different colors that represent different fragments or different memories, and you're placing them in your brain and making connections and core memories. And I just love the theming behind this, how everything kind of connects within the theme, and it is just such a beautiful game. The art is stunning, and I definitely recommend this to anybody that is interested in like the Azul and even like Calico, it kind of reminds me of. So definitely, if you like thinky games, puzzly, trying to place things in certain formations, I definitely recommend this one. It is the highest weight and the most difficult technically of all 10 of these games, but again, if you read the rules, take your time, learn the game, it is super easy and not difficult at all. So definitely recommend this one. It just recently came to your local friendly game store, so I definitely recommend checking and seeing if they have it. Again, it is just so beautiful and such a fun, thinky, puzzly game. That is everything for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing my first recommendation video. Definitely, if you enjoyed, give it a big thumbs up. If you like this board game content, please consider subscribing. Honestly, I have been loving sitting down each and every week talking about board games for like an hour or two with you guys, so I definitely recommend, if you do enjoy this type of content, to subscribe, because I do have so many other ideas coming in the future for board game content. Also, comment down below what kind of content, board game related, that you guys do want to see. Do you just want to see recommendations videos? Do you want to see fun like challenge videos that are board game related? Do you want to see full-on reviews of just single games? Please let me know down in the comments. I would appreciate that very much. I love you guys so much. Remember, you are somebody's reason to smile, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, friends!